He saved my life. I will never forgive him for it. That is the truth I carry now, carved into my bones the way my family's crest was burned into my shoulder blade 3 years ago. Liora Valdrin, last of her bloodline, survivor of a massacre she was too weak to prevent and too stubborn to die from. I have worn many names since then. The one I answer to in these halls is not mine. The dark hair that brushes my shoulders is a lie. Everything about me is constructed, calculated, designed for a single purpose. Viktor Ashford was supposed to die by my hand. The academy rises from the river valley like a promise of civilization, all white stone and climbing ivy and windows that catch the spring light. It is beautiful the way a predator is beautiful, the way a trap is beautiful when you do not see the teeth. I arrived here 11 months ago with forged documents, a servant's posture, and enough hatred in my chest to burn the whole thing to ash. Humans are not students here. Humans are staff, servants, the occasional blood donor for those wolves who prefer their meals warm and terrified. But the lower academic tracks accept anyone who can pay, and I had just enough coins stolen from my father's hidden cash to buy my way into obscurity. A nobody. A nothing. Invisible in the way that prey animals learn to be invisible when surrounded by predators. I learned their rhythms. The way the wolves move through the corridors with that liquid grace, all coiled power and barely leashed violence. The hierarchy that governs everything, from who sits where in the dining hall to who gets to speak in class. The Ashfords sit at the top, just below the royal bloodline. Lord Ashford controls half the council now. His son Viktor controls the academy through fear and the promise of his father's favor. Viktor, who laughed while my mother screamed. I did not see it. I was hiding in the cellar, pressed against the cold stone, my hand clamped over my own mouth to keep from sobbing. But I heard everything. I heard my father beg, heard him offer up secrets and gold and loyalty, heard the wet sound of my brother's body hitting the floor, heard Viktor's voice, young and eager and cruel, asking if he could keep my mother's necklace as a trophy. He was 17 then. I was 21, old enough to fight. Too terrified to move. I am not terrified anymore. The plan was simple. Get close, learn his habits, find the moment when he would be alone, vulnerable, unsuspecting. I had poison. I had a blade. I had 3 years of grief sharpened into something cold and patient. Viktor never looked at servants, never saw the hands that brought his food or cleaned his rooms. I could have been anyone. I could have been no one. And then the king arrived. I first saw Dante Valascar on a morning when the ice was just beginning to crack on the river. The academy emptied into the courtyard to receive him, wolves dropping to their knees in submission, the air thick with the kind of fear that has teeth. I stayed at the back, pressed against a pillar, watching through the gap between bodies. He was not what I expected. The stories paint him as a monster, the alpha who united the clans through blood and fire, who killed his own father to claim the throne, who has never lost a battle or shown mercy to an enemy. I expected someone massive, scarred, obviously brutal. What I saw was a man in his early 30s, dark-haired and sharp-featured, dressed in black wool without ornament or crown. He moved through the kneeling crowd like a knife through water, quiet, precise, every step deliberate. Then he stopped. His head turned, slowly, scanning the crowd until his gaze found the pillar where I stood half hidden. Golden eyes. I had heard about them but thought it was exaggeration. It was not. They burned like coins left in fire, like sunlight through amber, and when they locked onto mine, I forgot how to breathe. He smiled. It was a small thing, barely a curve of his lips, gone so fast I might have imagined it. Then he kept walking, and the crowd swallowed him, and I stood there with my heart slamming against my ribs and my hands shaking so badly I had to press them flat against the stone. He saw me. Through a crowd of wolves, he found the one human. the one prey animal stupid enough to look directly at the apex predator. I told myself it meant nothing. The weeks that followed proved me wrong. Dante Valascar did not attend classes or mingle with students. He was here for political reasons, meetings with the Ashfords and other high-blooded families, negotiations I was not privy to, but I saw him in the corridors, in the gardens, in the library where I went to research poisons. Every time, those golden eyes would find me across whatever distance separated us. He never spoke to me, never approached, just watched. The way a wolf watches a rabbit, patient and certain, waiting for the moment to strike. I accelerated my timeline. Victor had a habit of visiting the Eastern wine cellar after dinner, where he would drink himself stupid and sometimes drag a servant girl down for company. The girls never talked about what happened. They didn't have to. I saw it in the way they flinched, the bruises they tried to hide, the hollow look that crept into their eyes. I chose a night when the moon was dark. I wore a servant's dress, loose enough to hide the blade strapped to my thigh. I made sure to be in the corridor when Victor passed, made sure to stumble into his path, made sure to look frightened when he grabbed my arm. It wasn't hard. I was frightened, just not of him. "Well," he said, his breath sour with wine, his grip bruising. "What do we have here? A little mouse, wandering where she shouldn't be." I kept my eyes down. Prey behavior. Let him think I was weak. "Forgive me, my lord, I was just what?" He yanked me closer. His free hand came up to grip my chin, forcing my face toward the torchlight. "Look at me when I speak to you." I looked. 3 years of hatred. 3 years of hearing my mother's screams in my dreams. 3 years of carrying the weight of a dead family. A burned name, a future reduced to ash. I looked at Viktor Ashford's smug, handsome face, and I felt nothing but cold, clean purpose. "Pretty," he murmured. "For a human. You'll do." He started dragging me toward the cellar stairs. I let him. My hand crept toward the slit in my skirt, toward the blade, toward the moment I had been building toward for 1,000 days. We never reached the stairs. The growl came from everywhere and nowhere. Low, rumbling, a sound that bypassed my ears and went straight into my chest, into the primitive part of my brain that remembered when humans were prey. Victor froze. His hand tightened on my arm hard enough to leave bruises that would last for weeks. The shadows at the end of the corridor moved. I have seen wolves before. The academy is full of them. Young men and women who shift between forms like changing clothes. But I had never seen anything like what emerged from that darkness. Massive. Black fur that seemed to absorb the torchlight rather than reflect it. Shoulders that came up to my chest. And eyes. Golden eyes, burning with a fury so absolute that looking at them felt like staring into the sun. "Dante." Victor made a sound. Not a word. Something smaller than that. Broken and wet with terror. His hand released my arm and I stumbled back against the wall as he turned to face the Alpha King. "Your Majesty." His voice cracked on the second word. This isn't... She's just a servant. I wasn't going to..." The wolf moved. I have replayed that moment 1,000 times since. I still cannot tell you exactly what I saw. 1 second, Victor was standing, stammering excuses. The next, he was on the ground, and there was blood, so much blood, and sounds that I will hear for the rest of my life. Bones breaking, flesh tearing, a scream that cut off too quickly. I pressed myself against the wall. My blade was in my hand, though I did not remember drawing it. Some part of me understood that I should run, that whatever was happening here had nothing to do with me. That this was my chance to disappear, to escape, to pretend I was never here. I did not run. When it was over, when the sounds stopped and the silence rushed in to fill the void, the wolf turned to look at me. Blood matted his dark fur. His muzzle was red with it, and those golden eyes found mine with the same focused intensity they had shown in the courtyard, in the library, in every corridor where he had watched me pretend not to notice. The shift happened slowly, fur receding, bones reshaping, the massive form condensing into something human. Dante Valiscar rose from the crouch, naked and blood-soaked, and looked at me with an expression I could not read. "You can put the knife down," he said. His voice was rough, like he had swallowed gravel. "I'm not going to hurt you." I did not put the knife down. He tilted his head, studying me with something that might have been amusement. Liora Valdrin, last daughter of House Valdrin, declared traitor and destroyed by order of Lord Ashford 3 years ago. Currently enrolled under a false name with forged documents, living in the servants' quarters despite being of noble blood. The words hit me like physical blows, each one a nail in the coffin of everything I had built. My hand tightened on the blade until my knuckles ached. "I've known since the moment I arrived," he continued. "Your scent. It's distinctive, like smoke and mountain flowers and something underneath that I can't quite name. I caught it in the courtyard that first morning. It took me 3 days to piece together who you were, another week to confirm it. Then why?" My voice came out scraped raw. "Why didn't you expose me?" He stepped closer. I held my ground, though every instinct screamed at me to run. Predator, danger, death walking toward me on bare feet, leaving bloody prints on the stone floor. Because I wanted to see what you would do. He stopped an arm's length away, close enough that I could see the gold flecks in his eyes, the blood drying on his jaw, the pulse beating steady in his throat. "I wanted to see how far you would go for your revenge. He was mine." The words tore out of me before I could stop them. "Viktor was mine to kill. You had no rights." The word was soft, almost gentle. "You think this is about rights?" He reached out. I flinched back, but he was faster, his hand closing around my wrist with implacable strength. Not hurting. Not yet. Just holding. Trapping. "I watched you for weeks," he said. "Watched you move through these halls like a ghost, invisible, patient, so focused on your target that you didn't notice anything else. Didn't notice me. Didn't notice the way my wolf started pacing every time you walked past. Didn't notice that I was losing my mind, piece by piece, trying to understand why a human girl smelled like she belonged to me." My heart stuttered. "You're my mate, Liora." The words fell like stones into still water. "I knew it the moment I caught your scent. My wolf knew it before I did. And when I saw him touching you, dragging you toward that cellar, He trailed off. His jaw worked, muscles shifting under blood-stained skin. "I didn't come to save you," he said finally. "You didn't need saving. You had your blade, your plan, your righteous vengeance. I came because if I didn't, I was going to tear apart everyone between me and that corridor. I came because my wolf was already shifting, already moving, and I couldn't have stopped it if I tried. You killed him." My voice was numb. "You killed Viktor Ashford." "Yes. The political consequences. I don't care. His father will demand." "His father." Dante's lip curled, showing teeth that were still too sharp, too long. "His father ordered the death of the Valdrins. Your family, my mate's family. Do you think I'm going to let that stand?" I stared at him, at this man, this monster, this king who had just confessed to watching me for weeks, knowing my secrets, claiming me as something I never agreed to be. "I don't know you," I said. I never asked for this." "No." His thumb brushed across my pulse point, a touch so gentle it made me shiver. "You asked for revenge. You asked for Viktor's blood on your hands, for the chance to look into his eyes and make him understand who was killing him and why. And you took that from me." "Yes. Why?" The word cracked in the middle. 3 years. 3 years of planning, of waiting, of keeping myself alive through sheer stubborn hatred. And now Viktor was dead, and I hadn't done it, and the hollow space in my chest where the revenge should have been was filling up with something I couldn't name. Because I couldn't let him touch you. Dante's voice dropped, rough and raw. Because the thought of his hands on your skin made me want to rip out his spine and wear it as a trophy. Because you are mine, Liora Valdrin, whether you accept it or not, and no one hurts what belongs to me. I'm not yours. I pulled against his grip. He let me go and I stumbled back, putting distance between us. I'm not anyone's. I'm the last Valdrin. And all I had was this. All I had was the chance to make them pay. And I can give you more. The words stopped me. I stood there, breathing hard, my knife still clutched in my white-knuckled hand, and watched him watch me. Lord Ashford is still alive, Dante said. The men who carried out the order, the council members who looked away, the wolves who benefited from your family's fall. Viktor was one death. There are dozens more who share the guilt. You're offering to help me kill them? I'm offering you a choice. He spread his hands, palms up, blood on his fingers, blood on his chest, blood everywhere, and somehow he made it look like an offering rather than a threat. Come with me, be my queen, and I will give you every single person responsible for your family's death. Or stay here, disappear again, build a new identity and a new plan. I won't stop you. I won't expose you. I'll walk away and pretend I never found you. My laugh came out broken. You expect me to believe that? That you'd just let me go? No. His golden eyes burned into mine. I expect you to understand that letting you go would destroy me, but I would do it anyway, because keeping you against your will would destroy something else, something worse. The corridor was silent except for our breathing and the distant drip of water somewhere in the walls. Viktor's body lay between us, a ruin of blood and bone. My blade felt heavy in my hand. Freedom. I had dreamed of it for 3 years. Freedom from fear, from hiding, from the constant weight of unfinished vengeance. I thought killing Viktor would give me that. I thought I would feel something when he died. I felt nothing. Just empty. Just tired. Just lost. Why me? I asked. The question came from somewhere deep, somewhere I hadn't acknowledged until now. Of all the wolves, all the noble daughters, all the women who would kill for the chance to be your queen, why a human? Why someone broken? Dante moved closer, slowly this time, giving me the chance to run. I didn't. The mate bond doesn't care about politics, he said. It doesn't care about species or bloodlines or what makes sense. It only knows one thing. He stopped in front of me, close enough to touch. You're mine. I'm yours. Everything else is negotiable. And if I say no, then I spend the rest of my life as half a person, knowing what I lost and why I lost it. And you spend yours running from the Ashfords and everyone else who wants the Valdrin bloodline extinct. That's not fair. Nothing is fair. His hand came up, hovering near my cheek without touching. I'm not offering you fairness. I'm offering you power, protection, and vengeance. The rest, we figure out together. I closed my eyes. My mother's face swam up from memory, blurred now after 3 years. My brother's laugh, my father's cowardice, the smell of smoke and blood on the night everything ended. I had come here to destroy Viktor Ashford. I had come here to die, probably, once the deed was done. I never planned for after, never imagined there would be one. The Alpha King of the Wolves stood before me, covered in the blood of my enemy, offering me a future I never asked for, and a bond I didn't understand. And somewhere underneath the fear and the anger and the grief, something stirred, something that felt dangerously like hope. I opened my eyes. Dante was watching me with an expression that I finally recognized. Hunger, want, desperation carefully leashed but visible at the edges. He was terrified, I realized. terrified that I would say no, terrified of what he would become without me. "I need time," I said, "to think, to understand what this means. You can have all the time you need, and Viktor's death, the body, will be handled." His jaw tightened. "The official story is that he attacked a guest under the king's protection, which is true. The details of who that guest was remain private. For now. For as long as you want." I looked at the blade in my hand. 3 years of planning, reduced to a blood-soaked corridor and a choice I never expected to make. Revenge had been my reason for living. Without it, I didn't know who I was. Maybe that was the point. "I won't kneel," I said. "I won't play the grateful rescued maiden. If I do this, if I choose this, it's as an equal, a partner, not a possession." Something shifted in Dante's expression. The hunger softened into something warmer, something that looked almost like wonder. "The wolves will never accept a human queen. Then they'll learn. Lord Ashford will try to kill you. Let him try." I smiled, and it felt sharp on my face, unfamiliar. I've been a ghost for 3 years. Now I'll be a queen. And when I finally face the man who murdered my family, it will be from a throne, with an army at my back and a king at my side. Dante's answering smile showed teeth. "There she is," he murmured. "There's my Luna." He held out his hand, blood-stained, dangerous, promising things I couldn't yet imagine. I looked at it for a long moment. Then I sheathed my blade, stepped over Viktor's body, and placed my palm against his. His fingers closed around mine, warm and strong and certain. "The world isn't ready for you," he said. I squeezed his hand once, firm. "No," I agreed. "It isn't." We walked out of that corridor together, leaving the blood in the body and my old life behind. The spring air hit my face, sharp with the smell of thawing ice and new growth. Somewhere in the academy, wolves were waking to the news that their golden boy was dead and their king had claimed a human mate. Everything was about to change. I had come here to end a life. Instead, I was beginning one. The revenge could wait. Lord Ashford could wait. All the wolves who had profited from my family's destruction could wait just a little longer. I had time now. I had power. And I had a king who looked at me like I was the most terrifying thing he had ever wanted. The last Valdrin was no longer hiding.